right, guys. So I had maybe a little bit of an abrupt departure, but some of those things, trying to build up our YouTube channel, and that maybe I'll put out there if they're good. I don't know, but it's kind of a big discussion, that whole manners and why it's important, and I would think that it's everything. I would think that it's super important all over, and how it comes up in my life is that regardless of what you're trying to do, who you're trying to impress, this or that, like if you're helpful and have manners, man, it carries you everywhere. It just does. Except if you have sty in your eye, then you're stuck looking like this. I can't imagine how bad it would be to be one of those girls that is on Instagram that needs the lighting just right and the makeup just right before. I mean, you look at this face, for God's sakes. Anyway, so I just want to do any questions and answers or any kind of stuff like that you got that might have come up, because I did leave kind of abruptly. Manners in social media is it's an interesting thing, because there's not there's no reality. You don't have to own anything. You don't have, things that you wouldn't say to somebody because you're like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings and stuff. People all of a sudden get into a position where they're like, fuck it, I'll just type that out. And it's not you can't say I'm a white belt and I suck. It's so rude. I love that you show up every day. The reason I say it's rude to you, man, because no, you're a white belt and you're not very good at it. Sucking would be like maybe that you don't show up. You're just a white belt, man, and you'll grow beyond that. And that's just where you are today. Be careful how you speak to yourself. I don't know anything about that. I don't scroll social media enough to look at what happened with Sage Northcutt. I heard people said a lot of stuff about him and stuff, and he's a young guy. I fuck where he is at 19 years old. I wish I could have been somewhere like where he is in his mind and his discipline and everything. It was amazing. It's amazing what he's done. That's from where I sit. That's a guy that wasn't succeeding at 19-year-olds. Maybe all you guys that say that he is a piece of shit or whatever he is, are like. Maybe you're like, are you Elon Musk or something? Like, who the fuck are you to be like, he has no heart? When have you tested yours, is what I would say. Like, you just don't even know. That's such an ignorant outlook. You don't even know what happened there, really. Like, he's like, what I think of is, if you got something bad to say, you're probably an asshole that's never tried anything in your life. And the other aspect of it is he's a nice guy. And what do we do in our life? We try to be generous and gracious with each other. That's what we do. That's what being a man is about. So mind your fucking words. Mind your words, because your words show me who you are. And it says way more about you than it says about Sage Northcutt. And I don't know Sage. I don't know anything about him. I just know he's a guy out there that really tried and that put himself out there, put his best out there. And then whatever happened, I don't know what happened in his mind. Maybe he was having a fucking seizure. Who knows what went on in his mind? Maybe he didn't think he was tapping. Maybe he was palm strike. I don't really know. I have no idea. But, anybody that wants to degrade the participant while they're a spectator, shame on you. Shame on you. That's reprehensible. And go and try something. Please go run a 5K. Do something in your life, because you don't have any place to speak. Yeah, and I don't even know if he's a good guy or not. Just seems like a nice, smiley kid, Did I ever hit a rock bottom, which gave me... I have so many rock bottoms. The problem is that sometimes those rock bottoms is you just keep digging sometimes, you got to hit, and I think the big thing is you got to be you've got to decide. You got to decide you want to be different. And then with that decision, and what does decide mean? You really got to define decide. Decide is everything. When I decide something, I have to put my all there, my 100% I have to put into that decision. A guy told me a long time ago, he goes, hey, do you want a new life? And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you know what it costs? And I go, no. And he says, your old life, all of it, 100% of it. And thought about what that meant. And that meant not just where I was and like geographically or who my friends were or any of that stuff. But like my thinking, my old ideas, my ideas about who you were, about who I was, about who God or the universe or whatever was, I had to have a whole new life. And so my thinking and or outlook had to change on everything. And it's hugely important. I still think of it all the time. And it's one of the things that makes the biggest difference in my life. I have to start fresh every day in that way. Like if I want to be vital and kind of nurtured throughout the day, and then I want to be able to be nourishing to my community, I have to be fresh and vital. I have to be. And I think that's one of the biggest things as far as making a decision to like build a new life or having rock bottom. There's many rock bottom moments, you know. I really love what Couture would say about it. He says it's easy to win. A champion, we find out who they are when they lose. My thinking changed this morning. I mean, it changes all the time. It's never static. I always try to be open to new ideas. There was a question before that, and I goddamn missed it, and I'm so sorry. I mean, we give ourselves opportunity or we hide from the opportunities, you know, and that becomes the thing is that when we hide from those opportunities, we're just living in fear. So I try to be careful about not making the decision out of fear, out of being scared of what's going to happen. I try to make the decision based out of, um, you know, you're scared, but you do it anyway. You do the hard thing. The hard thing is usually, generally, the thing of honor. Wow, that's a tough road. Good luck with that. I've seen that movie before about moving for the girl you love and all that. You know, it depends where you are in your life, I think. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. There's an experience, you are open to the experience and you have it. And the thing is you keep your options open. And then in that, if it doesn't work out with the girl, you're able to change it quickly. If you got responsibilities towards a daughter or a mother or something like that, would I say do that and just dip out and go for a girl? No, that's selfish and self-obsessed. If you got nothing else in your life like that, go and do that, live that, and be in love. That's fantastic. However, you know, you got to know that, oh, congrats, man, that could cost. You know, another guy told me this one thing. He goes, you can do anything you want in this world, Tate, as long as you're willing to pay the price. And you better know what that price is. And so, like, if the price is, well, I'm right now a nuclear physicist and I fell in love, and so I'm going to go move to Bali and be with this girl, I may never get another job as a physicist again in my field or whatever. You know what I mean? And that just becomes part of the thinking man's conversation. Like you've got to intellectually go through it and go, there's a cost and there's a reward to this, and there's a trying, and trying is fucking important. Like throwing it all in there, man, I throw the dice like nobody, but I make sure that when I do that, that nobody around me in my community is going to be hurt by the decisions I make. So that becomes my number one rule is do no harm, and where I can go out and do that becomes very, very important. So, uh, you know, you don't want to just roll the dice thoughtlessly, right? I hope that answers the question. Congrats, man. What school are you going to? What BJJ school? I know I come on the internet, my mustache all not sexy. Maybe I can comb it out. Do you remember when you convinced yourself to make the changes that got you where you are today? Brother, right on. Say hi to the boys at Riverside, man. Yeah, you can ask me about John Wick. The changes are so many, and I've been, you know, I guess the biggest number one thing is that in those changes, and when I think about those things, is that I'm open to changing them again. Is that I don't get so married to an idea or a way of thinking that I'm stuck in it. And so, you know, you put yourself in a position where when I was a younger man, I would have called myself a hypocrite. Because I'm open to the better idea when it comes. I'm open to the more useful, functional, performance-oriented idea when it occurs. And just because that's not present to me today doesn't mean that it's not going to be present to me tomorrow, and I can learn more about that thing then, if that makes sense. So there wasn't one pinnacle. Like I was always looking for that one pinnacle phrase or that one thing that I could do that'd be like, ooh, fuck, this is going to make the difference. This is going to cement me into safety or whatever it was I was looking for in my life. But there's not that thing. It's just like a martial arts discipline or learning a language. There's a daily study to it. There's daily actions that you have to take. And that's part of being disciplined. And that's part of having manners. And that's part of putting one foot in front of the other in a concerted effort towards a goal. And even if you don't really know what that goal is, just pick a place and start walking towards that thing. And things will show up, you know. That's the thing. That's what I did anyway, you know. I have no idea what you said, Matt. 10th Planet Chicago. Boy, if anybody's in Chicago, latest celebrity to kill me. I beat up Vince Vaughn. That doesn't count? Who said that that's embarrassing? Josh. Oh, that was you. Yeah. Thoughts on Phil Anselmo? What happened with Phil Anselmo? Don't ask a rude question like have you made Eddie Bravo tap. You don't talk about what happens in the training room outside the training room. It's rule number one. What happened to Phil Anselmo? He did a white power salute. Are you sure? I heard Phil Anselmo was gay. The Pantera singer, right? He's racist? Really? I don't know. I just knew of the band when I was a kid, and then I knew Draculino from Houston. He said he saw the Pantera guy, the lead singer, Phil Anselmo, I think, right? He's the lead singer, making out with another dude at some metal fest in Rio. What do I got going on these days? What don't I have going on these days? Um, I don't think there's any weird subs. Like we just saw a fantastic sub last night with Barnett. I mean, it was just amazing. And also, people sleep on Rothwell. Rothwell is an OG in the game. He's been around for forever, and he's an astute guy, and he's still in the learning. He's still really relatively young. Yeah, Connor could get sub, but Connor could knock him out too. I mean, it's amazing. Flying front naked choke. No, it's not. It's kind of like a 10 finger guillotine in a way, and it's kind of like that between that and like a Japanese necktie a little bit, the way he catches it in his sternum. And he's got huge success with it. He's obviously repped that thousands of times. I've never ever seen LA Guns, although they had some song about Jane or they had a couple of good songs I remember. If you have no idea what you want in your life and what you want to do with your life, it's hard because you probably want to kill yourself. Like that's generally what people that have no idea what they want in life, they get so frustrated. They're like, what the fuck is all this for? I think what you do is what I would say, and I'm not like an advice giver, but I would try to find the most positive community around me and I would become a part of that. And I would try to be as helpful as I could. Like if I go, well, I don't have anything else. I don't have any mental acuity for the thing that you guys are doing or anything, but I'm strong and maybe I could move boxes for you. Or I might and I would just try to be a part of something that was doing the greatest good in the community where I was. I think that would be, that's what I would hope anyway, I guess. And that's, I don't know. Yeah, that seems good. Ben Rothwell with a flying armbar, you think? Yeah, knowing you're not alone. Getting into a community is huge, right? I mean, I just used a pillow on it. I don't use anything on that beard. Anyway, I think that we've exhausted this time this morning. Of course, if I ever started over. Have you ever started over, like flipped your life and started? My whole thing has been at an older age. I didn't start jujitsu until I was in my late 20s. I didn't have my first fight until I was, I think, 32. The whole thing has been starting over from what I thought life meant when I was a kid until a teenager, till a young adult in my 20s. The whole thing has been like hitting reset switches or not even reset switches, but climbing to a next plateau and going, oh man, here too. And at every plateau, I swear to God, I thought there was a ceiling there. I thought that that would be the end. And but I just knew I couldn't. I have something in me that's different, I think, than some people, where I didn't think that there was like I didn't feel like there was a way that I could stay there. I would get so not bored, but I'd just be done with the life that I was living and want to go on to the next thing. I'd want to grow more. I'd had this thing for infinite growth that I have in me, and so it always looked like starting over again. The problem with guys that start over too much is that like you start and quit a lot of things, so it doesn't look like you're loyal to anything. So I'd say pick one thing that you love and do that thing forever. Because staying true and learning loyalty and discipline is a huge, huge, huge aspect of being a man. And nobody respects anybody that is a ship jumper or that goes from spot to spot. That's not what we're talking about. I just want to say that because I don't want to get it confused for anybody. It's like, oh, I try this and I'll start that. Because then you just look like you're shift list. You need to pick something and stay true to that thing for a while. And then try many things, man. Find out, you're young. Find out what you like. Find out what's fun. Jump out of planes, crash a car into a tree, whatever. Just run hard. It's important to under this. I don't know if you're talking about Maslow's level of. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd love to hear Jocko's. I want to talk to him, man. He seems like a great guy, and he's been around for a long time. I'm shocked that I don't know him, that I've never met him. It seems weird. We have so many friends in common. What's he doing with Weedman? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm going to podcast with somebody today. But first off today, you guys, I've got an audition for a pilot that I did last year with, I don't know. Anyway, it's all kind of confidential shit. But I got to study this shit and get lines together. So, 3 more questions and then I'm out. Starting now. Ooh, way to go on the one night stand. It's big, D. It's big. It's only dudes that want to know how big my cock is. Girls are just, whew. Travel tips. Don't forget your toothbrush. I don't have any business advice. I don't know. Keep trying. No, people are not generally a-holes. People that think people generally are a-holes are usually a-holes. Yes, it's cold coffee. Just sign up. Be a member of a small jiu-jitsu gym. Be a good representative of jiu-jitsu out in the community. Try other things. Get them in there. I got to go. I love you guys. Boom.